probably know a little bit about my story. You probably know about a year and a half ago I got a diagnosis that nobody wants to hear, especially when you have a 4, 3, and a 1-year-old at the time. That's how old my kids were. And that was, I was diagnosed with cancer. And at that time, we didn't really know what was going to happen, right? You never know when something like that comes upon your family. And so I had to rely on him in a really big way. There were times when I was going through 6 rounds of chemotherapy. I was going through 6 weeks of radiation and 3 surgeries, and I couldn't get up. Couldn't do very many things. I couldn't pick up my 3-year-old when they wanted me to hold them, and I had to tell them a little bit of a fib that mommy's arm hurts and I have to go back to the hospital because it's about my arm, and it wasn't about the arm. And to this day, they have no idea of what I've been through, and I'll tell them.
To have to tell your
they don't know.
That.
I've never told my kids about the cancer battle because they don't think that they're old enough to really understand what that means, and so at some point we will tell them. But you asked the question about what kind of a dad he is. When you're going through opportunities where you can barely scrape yourself off the bathroom floor because you're sick and your children are calling for you and you physically cannot get to them, but you have somebody who was not only running the state of Florida and was there for the people of his state, he was there for me. And he was there to go pick up my kids when I couldn't. And he did it with humility, and he did it with love. And I'll tell you what, can't ask for a better husband than that.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
How does it feel? How does it feel to hear her say that? I mean,
well, look, that's you know, in sickness and in health, that's what you sign up for. I mean, and so she's not only my wife, she's my best friend, and she's the person that I would want. I've always dreamed to be the mother of my children. And so, you know, this is just what you do. I mean, you know, when I think I was in 3rd or 4th grade, my mom had breast cancer. And I remember I didn't really understand what that meant even at that age. Our kids were so much younger. And so, you know, this was just something that our lives changed, our schedules changed, all that. But they just kind of, you know, they knew something, but they didn't really know that. And so in that sense, they were young enough. On the one hand, when she got the diagnosis, it's like the worst thing you can do when you have these very young kids, because you're thinking like, okay, what's going to happen if we don't come through with this? But on the flip side of that, it was not something that they had really a good sense of. They just knew, you know, mommy had to deal with issues. But you know, it was a trying time. But we had so many people praying for us. We had so many people. Just the outpouring was unbelievable. And she served as an inspiration to a lot of women in Florida and throughout the country. I've had people come up to me saying, I went through what your wife did through, and she gave me hope on how she handled it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.